Hey there, it's Colton Lindsay with the WGR Academy Prospecting Mastery Program. Thanks for coming back. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of the game, because what I found over the years is a lot of people that get into training programs is they stop after 2 or 3 videos. So keep moving forward. So before we start in this module, I just want you to sit down and recommit. Write down on a piece of paper, I commit to mastering prospecting. And why are we going to commit to mastering prospecting? Because that's going to get us more at-bats. That's going to get us more opportunities to present and get more contracts signed. What does that equal? Equals more customers. What does more customers equals? Equals more paychecks. What does more paychecks for you mean? Does it mean a better lifestyle for your family? Does it mean that new car that you've wanted? Does it mean that you're going to go on that vacation that you want to do? Does it mean you've got to actually you got to pay down some debt? You're going to get some debt consolidation and get free of that burden? Does it mean that you actually get to stop starving and you get to go out to dinner once in a while? What is it important for you? And the action item is to go full in with this program, to go all the way in. All right, so let's do this. When I first started prospecting, all I knew was the close, right? We've all heard of ABC, always be closing. And I heard this statistic that 80% of sales happens after the 5th close. And so I said, all right, I'm just going to start closing all the time. So I would ask them left and right. I would use these so-called power closes I found on the internet from these scripts. But everyone kept hanging up on me. And I was closing 8 or 9 times and I wasn't getting the appointments. What I realized was we've got to be able to understand the context. Write that word down. The context of the sale, of the conversation. So we're going to review the script and the breakdown behind it. Okay. The number one first important thing we got to understand is, how do we open the conversation? When someone picks up the phone and they start with this, they have that talking moment with this, we have 4 seconds. 4 seconds and be able to get in rapport with that individual. And if we mess this up, we mess up the opportunity to close for the appointment. If we mess up that opener, it's hard to get back on track with the context, the flow of the conversation in order to get the appointment. So trust me, the most important part is the opener, and we want to work to get them to say yes and get into rapport with them instantly. Right? The next part is what I call the rules of engagement. Now we've opened them up, we've got into rapport. How do you keep them in rapport? How do you go through this context, this flow of conversation with what I call a flow of harmony, so that you're having fun, you're enjoying it, and they can tell that. They can tell that you're not having commission breath, or that you're nervous, or that you're afraid, or that you're worried, or that they feel like you're trying to take advantage of them. And there is going to be a stage that you're going to suck at this, so be okay with that and fail forward. Learn that lesson. My success is built off of failing over and over again. I know there's an old Nike commercial out there with Michael Jordan, who he failed his way to success over and over again. He missed almost more shots than anyone out there in the NBA. Kobe Bryant is another example. I think he's either 1 or 2 missed shot person, field goal, from anywhere on the court. He's missed more shots than almost any other player in the NBA. But look at how great of players Michael Jordan were and Kobe Bryant. So understand you're going to mess up. But if you could get better at that shot, if you could get better at not messing up so much, how is that going to help you through the context? Right? The context of the convo is super important, and that's the rule of engagement. Okay, so we're going to get that into a second. And then what we want to be able to do is stack them up with what I call the magic question. It's the question that you cannot get wrong. Like, if you ask the magic question, it's going to work 100% of the time. Now, the key to the magic question, and any questions, if you want, one thing you want to learn from this entire program is ask great questions. The second thing you want to be able to learn is get your questions answered. Now, what happens is, in the prospecting conversation, the context of the conversation is, how often have you seen this happen? You ask a question and they give you an answer to a whole nother question. Okay, I want to teach you a little trick with that. Get this question answered. So write this down. Here's the magic question. If you knew 100% for certain that doing business with me, 2 things would happen. One is you sell your house. The other is you end up with significantly more money, bottom line, in your pocket than you could get any other way. And that's with or without an agent, Mr. Seller. I know it's a big promise. Hey, if you knew it were true, would you even want to hear more about it? Be honest with me. Okay, that's the question you want to ask. Rewind this when you're done. Write it down word for word so you have it. Put it on a piece of paper so you can see it. Okay? And memorize it. Commit that. That question has set me more appointments in the last 13 years than any other question I've ever heard or I know of. Okay? But here's the question. Here's the question you've got to get answered. Is, what are they going to say when they respond to that question? Here's what typically happens is they begin to say something like, well, I have a friend in the business, or well, we're going to try it on our own for 30 days, or well, I'm going to just list it this next week with a friend, or I'm going to do a discount brokerage, or how much do you charge, or blah, 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 blah. Well, it's like my friend and one of my good mastermind partners says, that's the answer to the wrong question. Let me ask that question differently. If you knew 100% for certain that doing business with me, two things would happen. One is you'd sell your house. The other is you'd end up with way more money in your pocket, more than you could get any other way, with or without an agent. I know it's a big promise, Mr. Seller. If it were true, would you even want to know more about it? Be honest with me. And then they're going to say, well, yeah, I want to hear about that. That question, sometimes with leads, especially if it's a FSBO and expired, I've got to ask it 2 or 3 times till they actually hear the question. Now, if it's not that question and you ask them another question and they don't answer it, they tell you some story, remember, get your original question answered. Got it? After the magic question is, you can tee them up for the close, for the meeting. And you want to do it in such a way that if you run the context with the rules of engagement, you open them just right, the context flows right, the close will actually feel like they're inviting you over to their house. How would you like to be able to have more sellers, more buyers inviting you to meet with them? That they actually feel is like they're in that idea. And if you do this right, you are creating inception. You're planting that seed into their brain such that they're going to invite you to meet with them. It's going to be their own idea. How would that be? That'd be cool, right? Cool. Yeah? Next, with this close is we got to be able to understand. When do we want to meet with them? Remember, it's about having outcomes. So for me, you could ask them, when is it you're available to meet? And that's not a very good question. But what if you know that you want to be home not so late and you want to be with your family? So you want to meet either early afternoon or later afternoon. For me, I wanted to stack my afternoons because if I stacked my afternoons, I got to go home earlier and hang out with my family earlier. So I asked them this question. What works better for you, early afternoons or later afternoons? And then I can identify. If they tell me a later afternoon, then I would say, okay, cool. When's typically a later afternoon for you? Around 5 o'clock is? Awesome. Well, I'm looking at my schedule. Why don't I do this? I don't mind. Why don't I swing over for 20 minutes, take a look at your house, and while I'm there, share you how we do business? I think you'll be impressed. What do you say? Would you be willing to risk 20 minutes with me? You would? Awesome. So does early afternoon work or is later afternoon better? Later afternoon works? Okay, I could swing by today around 5. Or in fact, I'll be in the neighborhood tomorrow around 5 o'clock as well. Which was better for you? Tomorrow at 5 o'clock? Awesome. Let's plan on tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I'll come on over and I'll share with you a few things. Fair enough? Awesome. Hey, by the way, and then you go into pre-qualify the conversation so that you can set them up to make sure it's a home run presentation. So there you have it. There's the context of the conversation. Doesn't matter which lead source that you're using. You've got to open them. You've got to engage them properly. You've got to ask them the magic question once you determine they're a real lead, they're a real person that you can work with. And then you've got that magic question that is so set up that you can't get it wrong. If they tell you no to that magic question, that tells you they're crazy. They're insane. You don't want to work with them anyways. And you even tie that in to say, well, let me just make sure if you could actually get way more money in your pocket, you would never want to hear about that. Nope. All right. Sounds good. We'll see you later. See, the question works. You don't work with crazies. You work with nice, sane people. But when they really hear that question, remember it takes 2 or 3 times sometime, when they really hear it and they really answer it, they almost always say, yeah, serious motivated sellers. Let me remind you, all the serious motivated sellers typically say, yes, I want to hear about that. And then boom, you use that closing sequence. Well, why don't I do this? I don't mind. Why don't I come over for 20 minutes, share with you how I do business. I think you'll be impressed. Worst case scenario, you kick me out after 20 minutes or so. What do you say? You willing to risk 20 minutes with me? You are? Awesome. Do early afternoons work or later afternoons? Early afternoons work? Great. Well, I could come by. You know what? I'm available Monday at 3 o'clock, or I could even actually probably make Tuesday at 3 work, which is a little bit better for you. See, that type of close is what I call a dual-edged sword close. It means no matter which way you swing that sword, you're cutting someone's head off and you're getting what you want. The appointment. Remember, the whole secret to prospecting is get more at-bats. More at-bats, more appointments. Even if you're not great at bat, it means you're going to have more chances to actually get customers to sign your contract. So here's the exercise for this module is go back and write down the exact sequence here, right? And start to get really clear on what the magic question is. And we're going to go in deeper throughout the training program, but start to get used to the magic question because it's going to change your entire real estate career. This question will make you millions and millions of dollars. All right, we'll see you in the next module.